Hello and welcome to another lecture for History of Journalism. I'm Professor Harper, and today we'll have a brief biography of Tom Wolfe, who's generally considered the founder, if you will, or at least the namer of what was called New Journalism back in the 1960s and 70s. New journalism really was an attempt to cast aside the notion of objectivity, fairness, and balance, and to provide a number of characteristics such as storytelling of fiction work for nonfiction, also a greater use of dialogue rather than quotations, and a significant change in terms of the approach to reporting and writing in journalism. Wolfe was born in Richmond, Virginia, and his father was a professor at Virginia Tech. His mother encouraged writing and art, and by the age of 9, Wolfe had started writing. He, in fact, wrote and illustrated a life of Mozart when he was a young man. He attended Washington and Lee University, which was then an all-male school. He majored in English and helped found a literary magazine, Shenandoah. He obtained a doctoral degree from Yale in American Studies. In his early journalism career, he worked at the Springfield Union in Springfield, Massachusetts, and he said that in 1959 that he was hired by the Washington Post because of his lack of interest in politics. In 1962, he joined the New York Herald Tribune, which was really considered a great writer's newspaper. During a 1963 New York newspaper strike, Wolfe approached Esquire about an article on the hot rod culture of Southern California. And he struggled with writing the article, and so his editor suggested that Wolfe send his notes. So what Wolfe did is he wrote a letter which ignored all of the conventions of journalism, and the editor simply removed the salutation, "Dear Brian," and published the notes as an article. And the result, which was published in 1964, was called "There Goes Vroom Vroom, That Candy-Colored Tangerine Flake Streamlined Baby." Wolfe called the experiment New Journalism, in which some journalists and essays experimented with a variety of literary techniques, mixing them with the traditional ideal of dispassionate, even-handed reporting. The electric Kool-Aid acid test was a narrative account of the adventures of the merry pranksters. Ken Kesey, an author, was the leader. You might recall Ken Kesey from Sometimes a Great Notion and The Cuckoo's Nest. In Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test, Wolfe used onomatopoeia, free association, and eccentric use of punctuation, such as multiple exclamation points, italics, to convey kind of the manic ideas and personalities of Ken Kesey and his followers. In the 1960s and 70s, he had a collection of articles published under the title of the Candy-Colored Tangerine Flake Streamlined Baby. And in 1968, the Pump House Gang focused on the popular culture, architecture, politics, and the transformation of American life after World War II. In 1970, he published two essays, Radical Chic and Mau Mauing the Flag-Catchers, which was an interesting critical account of the left raising money for the Black Panthers. And the Mau Mauing the Flag-Catchers basically had to do with how racial intimidation was used to extract money from government welfare bureaucrats, the flag-catchers. In the 1980s to 2000s, Wolfe did a variety of novels and nonfiction writing, but mainly fiction. And he really captured the times of each decade. So The Right Stuff was about the America's first astronauts. In 1987, The Bonfire of the Vanities talked about the moral corruption of the upper class of New York City. 1998, A Man in Full focused on Atlanta and its growth. And 2004, he published I Am Charlotte Simmons, which was about sexual promiscuity at colleges and universities. So with each decade, he really changed his focus on various subjects. And I don't happen to be a big fan of Tom Wolfe, mainly because I think that he wasn't really true to his original core. I think that he basically became an author that was more interested in selling stuff and selling his view of the current decade rather than kind of searching for more important issues. But a lot of people love Tom Wolfe, so I'm probably in the minority. So that's what we have for today, and thanks very much. We'll see you online.